Welcome to the Athlete Insights Podcast, hosted by Yash Day, a podcast focused on letting athletes tell their journeys in their sport. This podcast is presented by Boxed Water. Boxed water is better.
Hello and welcome into another episode of the Athlete Insights Podcast. Today I've got my guest, Kristine Kloda. She's a former NAIA national champion in golf from Keiser University, and now she's a consultant for international students looking to become student athletes in the U.S., based out of Norway. So appreciate you, Kristine. I know it's 2 o'clock out there, and I know it's afternoon time out there, and appreciate you coming and spending some time with me and talking with me on the podcast and kind of sharing your story about what you do and who you serve and all that stuff.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here, and I love talking about golf, about sports, and about the kids that I help go to the US.
Yeah, yeah. Can you, I always talk to my guests about kind of sport when they really got into sport, in that regard. Can you talk about your earliest memories before we kind of get into kind of what you do and all of that? Can you talk about your earliest memories with sport? What was your experience like?
Absolutely. I don't remember this, but they showed me a video of my confirmation. It's something you do in church when you're 14 in Norway,
Yeah.
where I was running around the yard. I think I was like 1.5, 2 years old, and I'd gotten my first set of golf clubs from my dad.
Okay. Yeah.
But he started playing the year I was born. I guess to get away from the rest of the family. Um, and I got a set of it was probably like US kids, but the plastic kind, and I was running around the yard naked, basically doing that.
Yeah.
I don't remember this. I think my first sports memory, I was probably like 4 or 5 years old. I tried track for the first time.
Okay.
I was awful, absolutely awful.
Gotcha.
I fell. I never did track again. And then I started playing golf for real, I guess, when I was around 8 years old. Played my first tournament the same week I started in like rubber boots.
Nice,
Uh,
nice.
that's actually a fond memory. I think the first fond memory of sports. I've
Gotcha.
always
Yeah.
been very interested in sports. I
Hmm.
always loved watching it on TV. I don't know if you know this, but Norway is a huge sports nation,
Yep.
especially like Winter
Gotcha.
Olympics. We watch the Winter Olympics. That's
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
yeah,
it makes sense too. The geographical location, Norway, where it's at, as well with the Winter Olympics. And so, you talk about the being, playing golf right out the womb, like you said, or as we mentioned here. But and then track. Did you do any other sports in between that?
and then
Um,
horseback riding for quite some time. I
okay.
didn't really quit that until I was 16, and my mom is still working with horses.
Nice.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah,
so
we
I
have
spent a lot of time with horses, but
where
besides that, not really.
I gotcha. Yeah, where I'm teaching right now, we have an equine studies class, and that's
No.
really like a real good a class that they or major, not just class, but a major that they offer here at Midway where I'm at. So it's and horses are I didn't realize I didn't grow up around them, or I was never around them, and then I got to the university that I'm at right now, and it's horses are such a big part, play such a big part of the culture here in Kentucky, at least. So it's great to kind of connect with somebody who has experience in that regard as well, in that
Yeah.
process. And um, yeah, and then
Yeah.
can you talk about moving into kind of you mentioned you took up golf more seriously at the age of 8, started taking that more seriously, and so can you talk about some experiences, some cool moments or things that you experienced in your youth career when you played golf into kind of your school, your secondary school or high school as we call here, kind of that career.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I played golf since from 8 till 14,
Hmm.
and I didn't take it that seriously. I thought it was a lot of fun,
Okay.
uh, most of the time. Anyways,
Yeah.
I think any parents teaching a 10-year-old to play golf, it's a little tedious. I remember thinking that, oh, I only have 5 holes left, oh, I only have 3 holes left. And I think when that switched to, I didn't even think about the holes I had left, that's when I really, really started enjoying it. And
Yeah.
I'd say that was around like 12, 13.
Gotcha.
Um, and at 14, I qualified to play second tier in Norway, which then used to be a regional tournament, a
Mhm.
bigger event, basically.
Yeah.
And my dad was set to go on a golf trip with his friends to Spain.
Oh.
And since I qualified for this, he actually decided to stay home and go with me. And I really think that that was a turning point almost.
Oh,
Uh,
gotcha.
and it became our thing to just drive around like the east, then
Oh,
east south of the country, go to
uh-huh.
golf almost every weekend. And
Gotcha.
then I qualified for the ladies level. We
Oh,
have top level, both ladies and also juniors.
uh-huh.
And then second now, and then back when I played, we used to have third tier as well. So
Gotcha.
qualifying for that second tier, that for me that was huge. I come
Hmm.
from a club and we didn't have a lot of girls. We had some, and
Yeah.
then we were, I think, like three that took it quite seriously, and we traveled a bit together, and that also
Helps.
finally you kind of got into the environment. You
Yeah.
found some friends. You got some friends from the tournaments, and I
Yeah.
always thought tournaments was a lot more fun than practice just because of
Gotcha.
that.
Yeah. No, and it's always good to have that camaraderie and friendship and all these different things. So to that kind of build into the experience. I know, like, I when I started playing golf, I really like it was a kind of a similar story. My dad got me into the game, and so me and my dad would go play. We still do that. We still go to the driving range and hit balls, and that's kind of the thing that we do back home. But I wouldn't have really loved or enjoyed golf if it was just me. I had good friends and good people around. And even now when I play, Christine, it's like I'm like if I have to play by my like I go out by myself sometimes out here and I'm like, okay, like can you pair me up? Because I'm like I
Yeah,
don't want to play golf. I don't want to just play golf by myself, like
agreed.
if there's somebody out there like that's playing at that time, let me go out with them because it just makes the golf round more fun and you build more friends that way. So it's nice.
Agreed. And that's why golf's perfect. You can play off whatever handicap and you can play a match or
Yeah.
choose whatever tees you want. And
Yeah.
it's easy to match up with young, old, bad, good. It doesn't really matter. I always
Yeah.
thought that was fun. Playing
Yeah.
with my dad, he's like a 22, 24 handicap, and we
Oh,
have a great time.
nice, nice. Yeah. And then can you talk about your recruitment process with Kaiser? Kind of how did that come about? Can you talk about that experience?
Yeah. Yeah. So moving from my youth career and into high school, I got into a sports high school.
Okay.
Uh, so it's a lot like American high school,
Mhm.
but you don't travel for your sport with the school. You do that privately with your family. But you have practice almost every morning, and then you have your club practice in the evening. So for me, that was huge. Just getting into that school was kind of the next step for me.
Yeah.
Uh, and I feel really, really lucky looking
Yeah.
back because that gave me the opportunity to travel to actually go to these tournaments. I don't think a lot of other schools would have given me like Friday, Thursdays off to travel
Mhm.
to do practice rounds because you're not allowed to have that much absence basically. And
Yeah.
just getting into that school made all the difference. And then I spent 3 years there. We had 3 years of high school in Norway, and I finished at 19. I
Hmm.
think around, I think I was like 15, 16.
Yeah.
Keystone Sports, or CSUSA, as we used to call the company I work for now.
Yeah.
And the two guys that started it, they came to our school and gave basically like it's quite informal lecture about college. Just
Yeah.
had an information meeting.
Yeah.
Um, And I knew that a few of my friends, they were 1 year, 2 years older than me. They were already kind of in the process with them. And yeah, so it's kind of natural for me. My dad is kind of, what can I say? He's the person that's always been there with me in golf.
Yeah.
He made it possible for me to do this. So he was a huge part of my golf career back then,
Yeah.
still is. But we went into Oslo. We had a meeting with Kim, his name is, and we talked about what I wanted to study. And I was very, very unsure. I was quite academically ambitious.
Yeah.
And I was very unsure if the US was right for me, if I wanted to put that much into golf. And it's not that I didn't already put a lot into it. I found it a little difficult to navigate my academic ambitions as well as golf ambitions.
Yeah.
It was so many hours in the day.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
100%.
that was a little torn, but we decided, and I have the most amazing parents. And my dad said, we'll do this process, and then if you don't want to go, you can go home from the airport. That's fine.
Uh,
Uh, and I was like, okay, let's start the process. And I talked to a few different schools. I remember talking to Coker, Post, Eckerd, and then Keiser.
okay.
And Keiser, it was a really, really good fit for me.
Yeah.
I think I chose it mainly because of the location. I
Hmm.
had good meetings with all the coaches that I talked to,
Yeah.
especially Coach Sokol from Post. We
Okay.
had a really good conversations. About Brandon, the coach of Kaiser, if you ever get the opportunity to talk to him, you really should, because he is
Oh,
the most amazing coach.
yeah.
He's kind of quiet.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't say that much,
Okay.
but he always made me feel really secure. That it wasn't scary to talk to
Yeah.
him, and I
Gotcha.
think I like that. Even though we didn't chat, we didn't connect extremely well. We connected well enough,
Uh-huh.
and the whole deal, just the courses they played, the tournaments they played, the level, Brandon, location, everything kind of made that an easy choice in the end. Choose Kaiser.
Yeah. No. And it's great, like you said, great location too in Florida.
Amazing.
So, in that regard. And you when you get into Kaiser, what was the biggest difference that you saw from the golf the high school or secondary school or the tiered golf that you talked about, tier one, tier two, kind of tier three, that golf experience back in Norway and the difference kind of with your golf experience in the United States, whether it be like the way the shape of the courses and the course setup, anything like that. What was the biggest change that you noticed golf wise between your experience in Norway to your experience in the USA?
That's a great question. I think by the time I was ready to go to the US, I was playing top level ladies and junior in Norway. I
Mhm.
was never at the top of the leaderboard. I was more like, you could call it leaderboard food, like at the middle. I think my
Yeah.
average was like 84. And then I had some really good results in match play tournaments.
Yeah.
And we had some really, really great players coming out of Norway that year. We had two girls go to South Alabama. Yeah, some really, really great players. And going over to Kaiser, I found the first semester challenging. Coming off bent grass, moving to Florida to Bermuda grass,
Yeah.
short game was a bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
And I also had so many good teammates at Kaiser. I think that's maybe like the biggest change for me was having a girls' team. My last 2 years of junior golf, I played in a club where I was the only girl. Me and like 5, 10 guys.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was a huge change,
Yeah.
actually getting to play and practice. A girls' team that wanted to practice. It was a
Yeah.
great thing to be a part of. We were a lot of internationals. We
Hmm.
had German players play from Czech Republic, from England. I had a really, really good teammate from England,
Yeah.
was Samantha Fuller. She
Gotcha.
was amazing, and I learned so much from my really good teammates.
Hmm.
But I'd say the big change was Bermuda,
Yeah.
being away from home, a
Yeah.
whole new team to get to know, to
Yeah.
figure out,
Yeah.
and then playing college tournaments is it's different.
Yeah.
We played in carts. I remember my first tournament.
We played in carts at Innisbrook. The
Okay.
We didn't play the copperhead. We played this. I think it's called the salamander.
Okay.
Yeah, we played in carts and we played 36 holes without a break. And that was definitely an experience.
Yeah. No, 36 holes without, yeah, that I had to. I can't even imagine um doing
And
that.
I've never played in a cart before. I don't think I've almost ridden a golf cart
Yeah.
before coming to the
Shoot.
US.
I don't enjoy plowing. Like I think it's a mental thing now. Like I always walk. So
Yeah,
like when I play in some of the charity events and stuff like that, I like to do that here. And they always take a cart and I always walk and they're always like, just grab a cart, let's go. And I was like, no, I can't play well if I get it. I don't know if it's a mental block or what, but like if I get into a cart, my game just automatically goes down.
I agree 100%. And that was also difficult. I kind of figured out a solution,
where I would do my stats.
and that would be the same I would do in between shots while I was walking. So
Yeah.
that kind of helped me stay a little more grounded. But I think it's too fast paced. I don't have enough time to
Yeah.
think before my next shot or do like my calming routine. Not that I have a thought out calming routine. It's kind of just became
Yeah.
calming routine, I guess.
Gotcha.
I still
Always like to walk.
Yeah.
But cars is different. Team.
different.
Yeah.
New coach, living on campus. It's sharing a bedroom. That was a difficult transition.
Yeah. Yeah.
And looking back, I'm very happy I did it. But I
Almost went home actually
Oh,
after 6 months in the US.
wow. Okay. Yeah, and I can understand the transition. I mean, from Norway to the US, different culture, different even food, different types of things that are coming into play.
Yeah,
I definitely understand that process. And so, what's one before we talk about your time at your current job and your current role? Can you kind of talk about kind of one lesson, one thing that you took away from your experience playing college golf in the U.S.? Kind of what's kind of the one takeaway or one thing you learned in that
I
process?
would
I wouldn't change anything of it for the world. I made a lot of mistakes,
Yeah.
and I'm even more right choices. I got
a lot better at golf. I made friends
for life, and I wouldn't change any of it.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm really happy I didn't stay for a fifth year.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That sounds weird, but my last year was amazing. I had the girls, we were so tight that last year.
Yep.
An amazing group of people from all over the world.
Yeah.
We played really, really well. We played really well my third year too, but COVID
Yeah.
happened and our season was cancelled.
Yeah.
But then we came back my fourth year.
It was my
Second nationals. I didn't play my second year.
Okay.
But our team, the team that was there, our third try at
Oh,
winning the national title. And if you know anything about Keiser, you know that they had a incredible golf team the
yeah.
year before I got there. They
Yeah.
have national titles and some Swedish, Spanish, and German players that left huge shoes to fill.
Yeah.
And that fourth year, we finally did it. We went out leading by like 20 strokes before the last round, and we played last round.
and
Yeah.
then we had like a weather delay. We went in, we kind of regrouped, we figured it out, and we went out and we did it.
Yeah. No, and winning, I mean, winning golf tournaments is hard in my realm, and even when I see some of the guys in college, even on PGA too, like winning golf is hard, but it's so satisfying when
Yeah,
you to accomplish something like that. So no, it's great to see kind of what you've accomplished in your college career and kind of what you're doing for kids now internationally, helping them find a home in the U.S. just like yourself. And can you talk about that? And can you talk about your current role, your current job, and kind of what you do, what your day to day looks like?
absolutely.
What's that process like?
Yeah. So when I graduated 2021, I went home, did my summer job, and kind of started looking around for what I wanted to do. And I applied for a sports consultant role at the company that helped me go over.
Yeah,
And they also were there for me the 4 years I was in the US. So I remember being incredibly happy. I got the first interview and then got the job. I didn't think I would. Um, and then I thought, okay, maybe I'll do this for a year.
yeah,
And now it's been 3.5 years, and I still love it.
yeah,
I usually always tell my kids, the kids that I work with, I told my kids that the road is paved while you're walking. Uh,
yeah,
you can plan as much as you want, but sometimes you just have a lucky break.
yeah.
Uh, and I've loved it. My day to day is always different.
Okay.
Uh, I don't have it. I'm very few like set meetings, calls, whatever. I give good information about college
Yeah,
to a lot of junior players.
yeah,
I go around to schools, to tournaments, I talk to parents, I talk to players,
yeah.
and yeah, try to give them good information and also tell them what's possible, what they
Mhm.
should prepare if they want to have this opportunity later on or even now.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and I kind of just sit down with them, tell them, okay, this is possible for you. We're looking at these types of schools. Do you want to do this? If they
Yeah.
want to do that with me as their sports consultant, we start working towards finding them a spot for whatever term they want to enroll.
Gotcha.
Um, but that's one part of it. Then we have what we call client promotion or promo. We build good profiles of players and send that to coaches. So I talk to coaches every single day,
Uh,
different levels, different schools, trying to just to find the right fit for the right player. And that can be based on level, it can be based on academics. We try to see the whole profile of what we're working with. So I have a few girls, for example, they're very academically ambitious. Some guys that they're into engineering or technical sciences, then
yeah.
that's a big part of their process. Looking for those schools that offer a 4 year program in engineering. And that kind of makes it a little fun. It's not like, I think that's actually the most fun, that every single player is different.
Yeah.
And having that contact with them, every family, every player, every kid's different,
Yeah.
and trying to figure that out. So I think I have a degree in psychology from Keiser, and I think that
Okay.
gets put to good use
Yeah.
today.
That's what I was saying. It's cool to see kind of how your degree transforms into the
Yeah,
current role that you're playing in, and it's cool to see kind of giving. We always talk about or I always talk about giving back
mm,
to the people, to the things that have helped you in life or whatever. And so it's cool to see the organization that kind of helped you come to the U.S. And kind of pursue your goal and your dream of playing in the U.S. or whatever that might have looked like. You giving back and giving back to the same organization and helping others, and it's
Yeah.
there's nothing to me that's to me teaching wise, me coaching wise, it's what I enjoy is really positively impacting young people. That's what I call it, and that's if we can do that, then it's a great way to go about life, great way to go about doing that process. So
yeah,
it's been great to see kind of what you've done at the organization and in your current role, and before we end the podcast, I always like to give my guests a chance to kind of provide advice. I started this as a way to help young people that I coach, or the young people that I coach, to kind of get them inspired about moving forward, and seeing what they can do in their future. And so, if I want you to kind of picture, if you're talking, I know you talk to parents and kids and all the time, and connect with them, but if you're talking to young women, young girls in golf, or who specifically want to pursue golf at the next level and want to get to the level that you are at Keiser, and winning national championships and going through that process. What's one piece of advice, or something that you would some wisdom that you would provide for young girls wanting to get to that next level in golf?
Yeah.
Um, I think listening to the right people is key. Um, and believing in yourself. Don't let anybody tell you you're not suited to this or you can't do this. And I know that's a little cliche, but I think I would have become a better golfer at an earlier age if somebody believed in me a little more. Not my dad, he believed in me 100%, but
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
coaches. Um, yeah, I think probably that. And also for girls especially, I think that our confidence is way lower than it should be when we're at that age, like
Yeah.
16 or 19.
Yeah.
I think we need to work on that. And
Yes.
for me, coming to college, getting to be coached by Brant Miller,
Yeah.
uh, he's an amazing coach when it comes to the mental game, mindset, believing in yourself,
Yeah.
and surround yourself by good people. Choose who you listen to. Find good teammates that support you, that roots for you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, it's so pertinent, and it's so, I think, and I see in the US now a lot more girls, a lot more women are getting involved in the game. There's definitely a need for it. And there's definitely I really think a lot more people. I always promote, like, even here, women's sports now is growing so much in the United States now. Um, so,
Yeah.
promoting that, and kind of being a promoter of that, I think is key. So same thing with women's golf. I watch PGA, but I watch just as much of the LPGA. We have been
Yeah.
watching the college golf, the NCAA like regionals for men and women the last couple days. So
Yeah.
promoting that piece, and like you said, having somebody that believes in you more than you is such an important piece uh,
Yeah.
That's
of
something I try to do for my kids.
yeah,
I try to be, as you said, a positive influence,
yeah,
and being the person that tells them you can do this. And it's not about not being realistic,
yeah,
because you need to be realistic. You need to see, and that's huge in a recruitment process. You need to be looking at the right schools.
mhm,
But at the same time, nobody knows what you're going to do in 1 year, in 2 years. You
yeah,
might develop incredibly. You might stagnate a little bit. You might go backwards because you're working through some things.
yeah,
Uh, but don't let anybody who can't be the world's best golfer in 10 years, because that's possible.
yeah.
It's just you're going to have to put down the work. You're going to have to find the right coach,
The right people.
but everything's possible.
Yeah, no, it's such great pertinent advice there, and I appreciate you, Kristine. But that's all the time we have for this episode of the Athlete Insights podcast. Again, I want to thank you, Kristine, for spending some of your time with me, and with the podcast, kind of talking about your career, talking about your where you are, kind of where you were to where you are now, and that progression, that evolution. So I appreciate that. If you want to follow Kristine, I'll have your social media handles
Perfect.
all over the YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, pretty much anywhere you get a podcast, you can find this one. But I'll have your social media handles up on those podcasts so you guys can follow Kristine. and her journey in the future, and in her journey as well. And so, and then, like I said, you can follow my podcast on YouTube, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, anywhere you get a podcast, you'll find this one. So again, Kristine, I appreciate you taking the time and spending it with me, but we'll see you next time.